The following podcast contains spoilers for The Hunt and Mean Streets. You have been warned.
Welcome on back, everybody, to KFR News Radio. This is Glenjman Button here speaking with Miguel Mugusto. Hello, Miguel.
Miguel Mugusto, I like that. Michael, I like. I'm good, how are you?
Not bad. It's a little chilly here in the basement, but other than that, that's just winter for you.
Yeah, I mean, you're also recording in a basement. That sounds like a personal problem.
It is the worst problem that I have.
Yeah. Yes, it is. So, if you were listening last week, which might have been two of you, you know that we chose The Hunt and Mean Streets for this week's films. But as always, first, let's just do a little movie catch-up, Glenn. Have you seen anything since our last meeting?
Well, I have to say no, as usual. But I was going to see an early screening of that new Spider-Man movie.
Oh, yeah?
Turns out it was completely full. So, that was great.
I could have told you that.
Yeah, there was like a 2 p.m. showing, and it was completely full.
Yeah,
so very upset.
Those things, they always give out too many tickets because they want it to be full. They want to turn people away.
Oh, yeah. So next week is going to be that venture.
Yeah. Well, I saw a shit ton of movies.
Oh, yeah, I've seen.
Mainly all yesterday. But since the last time we talked, I saw Ralph Breaks the Internet, or I like to call it Disney Spank Bank.
I like to call it Emoji Movie 2, Pixar made.
I mean, it's a little bit better than that.
I wouldn't doubt.
It's 'cause it's not Pixar, but the entire thing is just Disney just patting itself on the back and, jerking itself off, to be very crude. Then I saw Creed 2, which I know you... Did you see that yet, or...?
Wait, was that last week? I did see Creed 2. Man, my weeks are so freaking long at this point.
Yeah.
I did see Creed 2. That was it. That was the one.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was okay. Not as good as the first one.
I'm only opposite because I feel like they did very well with the antagonist this time around.
That I would agree with. I feel the antagonist, the whole Drago storyline was a lot better. And actually, I like what they did with Ivan Drago's character. Mm-hmm. Kind of made him more sympathetic in a way, kind of showed how losing ruined his life. At least that's what he thought. I mean, it's probably like a self-fulfilling prophecy type of thing where he was like, oh, this ruined my life, so then he let it ruin his life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed that. But I just thought the Michael B. Jordan storyline was very lackluster. And in the first one, I thought it was actually pretty good. And I kind of was hoping more would happen. They focused more on they focused more on him and not as much about like how he didn't grow up with a dad, which I kind of was hoping that they would do. But what are you gonna do?
At the end of the day, it's a boxing movie, and it's hard to make it really good.
Yeah,
at least the first one was.
Yeah, I saw The Favorite, Yorgos Lanthimos of Lobster and Killing of the Sacred Deer fame, and it's just as weird as you think it would be.
I was about to say, it's got a bunch of leading ladies there, doesn't it?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. Then I saw Eternity's Gate with Willem Dafoe as Vincent Van Gogh.
I did really want to see that.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about that. Then I saw Border, a Swedish movie about trolls, but
Man,
like in the real world.
Did you go to Bryn Mawr, I assume?
I went to the Ritz in Philly. Yeah, I went crazy. And Shoplifters, a Japanese movie about shoplifters. And then Roma, which is actually on Netflix right now. I found out as the credits were going. I was like, oh man, I could have watched this at home. But, things happen. That's Alfonso Cuarón, his newest movie. He did Gravity. Yeah. And I think he did one of the Harry Potters, but yeah. And as you know, and I'm sure all my friends who are listening know, I finally finished The Haunting of Hill House.
Oh, you did?
I did finish it, yeah.
I knew you were halfway through it last time I commented.
Friday I powered through it and just finished finished it since we didn't record on Friday like we usually do.
Yeah.
And gotta tell you, don't understand what the hype is about.
Not one single bit.
I was talking to my friend about this, and I think this sums it up. Like, I love the idea, but the execution was terrible. I shouldn't say terrible, just lackluster. It was a Lifetime horror movie, essentially.
Pretty much.
It was just super cheesy. It had decent effects. The dialogue at moments was just awful, and just took me out of it. And my biggest problem with it, everyone kept talking about how great the monologues are, and they're right. The monologues are great, but it seems like every scene is in service to set up the monologue. And it was just very formulaic, where it'd be like, 3-4 lines of dialogue, then a giant monologue, 3 or 4 lines of dialogue, then a giant monologue, and it's just over and over again. It just got boring and tired. And
for me, there was the show had moments. It had moments that it was pretty good, but overall, like, just the characters, they weren't that interesting, and then the problems that they had.
No.
And then on top of it all, like the house itself, it's like it was just a cluster of what just wasn't that good, and it was just I'm not great with overhyped shows to begin with, but like it was really overhyped.
Yeah, it services the audience well, and if you love the show, good for you. But like, technically speaking, it's just not a well put together story. Even my wife, who she likes watching Lifetime movies. She acknowledges they're bad, but she likes watching them. Or Hallmark movies, not Lifetime movies, but they're one and the same. She was just pointing out all the flaws that normally I would point out and would drive her crazy about. So it's just super glaring that she noticed them.
Yeah, you should have seen me watching it most of the time. Just when like something like really stupid like would happen, I'd like either roll my eyes or I'd be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And Kira would just be like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm going to die. I'm
worst.
Gonna goddamn die.
The worst line of dialogue in the entire series. I think it's the episode that's dedicated to Theo, which is the middle daughter.
Yeah.
She's like lying in bed, and she thinks one of her sisters gets in bed with her. You see a hand come around her, and she holds it. And then she like starts talking to it. They have a small conversation, and then it just stops responding. And then she looks around, and no one's with her. And out loud, mind you, we know what's going on. We don't need the slap in the face. But out loud, she goes, "Whose hand was I holding?" I mean, she doesn't say it like that, but she might as well have been with how
Whose
stupid
hand am
that.
I holding?
Whose hand am I holding right now, y'all? I tell you what. I was holding a hand here. Now there's no hand.
I can't believe I wasn't holding somebody's hand when I was. What is happening?
But I mean, like, for the people that enjoy it, I'm glad you enjoy it. I'm sure you you watched it before, you finished it before I did, so you probably didn't get as much. I tried watching it like 6 or 7 times and had to stop each time.
There was a lot of times I wanted to quit, but I wanted to finish it just because I wanted us to talk about it at some point.
I didn't want to finish it, but then people kept saying, "Why haven't you finished it yet?" And they're like, "Oh, just wait till episode 6. Just wait till episode 7. Just wait till episode 8."
You have to wait for those moments. Yeah, and it's not honestly fun.
If it were a 3-hour movie, or even like 2-hour movies, it'd probably be great, but there's just so much fluff that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, and my main thing is, if the characters would just get over their shit, this movie would go a lot, show would go a lot faster, and be a lot better.
That is the most frustrating thing in lazy writing in the world, is when you refuse to have your characters communicate.
Mm-hmm. Like, and I get why they don't. Like, they explain a little bit why they don't, but oh my God, are they more stubborn than me?
Exactly.
And that's annoying.
If you have, and that's real life. I will admit that is real life, but I don't want to see that, especially for a 10-hour series. If you have 1 or 2 conversations ending with, "I don't want to talk about it right now," that's fine. But if you end all of them with, "I don't want to talk about it right now," and the other person like telling the other person to shut up, and you're just pushing off the conversation. It's lazy writing, and you're trying to extend a story that does not deserve to be extended that much.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if it was like a long movie or, you know, a series of regular length movies, it'd probably be great.
I'd say a solid 2.5 hour movie, maybe. Like, I think that would do it some justice.
Now, part of me wants to take the entire series and re-edit it and release it, but, you know, I don't want to get sued. So, anyway, that's all I have to say about The Haunting of Hill House. I watched it. Y'all can shut up now. I don't need to hear about it anymore.
The way I see it, if anybody wants us to talk about it more, I guess we'll talk about it more at some point.
We can have more extended podcasts if we want. That's the one annoying thing with being like the movie guy to all of your friends is they always ask you if you've watched something, and if you haven't, they just keep bugging you about it until you do.
Yeah, usually I'm pretty good about, like, when a show's getting hyped up, I'll try to watch it. I'm like, all right, what's the deal? Yeah. Like I did that with that one. What show was that? It was with a little teenage girl, and she committed suicide. I can't remember.
Oh, 13 Reasons Why?
Yeah, I watched that. I liked it. I didn't mind it.
I stopped watching
the second one was terrible.
I stopped watching season 1 after episode 4 because they were all just so fucking annoying.
Oh, it gets so bad in the second season.
I'm sure it does. It was getting bad at 4 episodes in.
Everybody's got a mental disorder now.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let's move on. So, Glenn, as you know, I text you about this, and this is you're welcome to comment on things if you want, but I just want to talk about how shitty the Golden Globe nominees are before we get into it.
Yeah, the best part about all this is I haven't seen half these movies, so basically I don't have too much of a voice on it.
I've seen most, if not all, in every single category.
Yeah.
And really, like, best actor in a motion picture, that's pretty solid. Best actress in a motion picture, that's also pretty solid. For drama, at least.
Yeah.
Then we get into musical or comedy, and it just becomes kind of lame. But the thing that is most ridiculous is the best motion picture, drama, and best director categories. Best motion picture drama, I'm going to be easy on the musical or comedy just because, they are musical or comedy. They specify if it's a musical or if it's comedy. But for drama, they have, in my opinion, only one or maybe two of these movies deserve to be there. I only say maybe two because I haven't seen one of them. Black Panther.
Yeah.
Black Klansman, which is the one I think deserves to be there. Mm-hmm. Bohemian Rhapsody. If Beale Street Could Talk, and A Star Is Born. Why the hell is Black Panther getting nominated for that? Like, I understand the significance of a primarily black cast in a Marvel movie, but
for a drama.
Not just for that, but like it's the movie itself. I'm gonna sound like Eric Cartman right now. It's a good movie, but it's not great.
Yeah.
Like, the only thing that's great about it is the representation, and it deserves praise for that, for sure. But this is something that has to do with the Golden Globes. The Golden Globes are known for being more or less corrupt, where, like, you throw enough money our way, we're going to nominate you. And that is just so glaring here. Like, yeah, Black Panther is great. Sure. It's a fine movie, but it is... We're rewarding mediocrity in this, in my opinion, and I know the Golden Globes typically aren't the greatest representation of great movies. They're typically more mainstream, and that's fine. But it just, I just after this year, when we had all, for some reason, this year was backwards, where all the great movies were released in like the first 6 months. And it's pretty much been shit for the last 6 months. And usually it's the opposite, the other way around. But like, there's so many smaller movies from the first 6 months that you could throw in there that aren't thrown in there, and I'm just worried that it's going to be representative of what's going to happen with the Oscars. I hope it doesn't happen with the Oscars, but I'm worried that with people are just with so many people bitching that Marvel movies, superhero movies, aren't being nominated for Best Picture when they're fun movies, but they're super formulaic and not creative for the most part. And it's just, and it's not me just like hating on Marvel movies. Like they're fun, but there's a difference between a good fun movie and a truly great cinematic masterpiece.
Yeah, Black Panther overall, it was a good movie.
Yeah,
Michael B. Jordan was amazing as a villain, as an antagonist, and I guess I think maybe he would even go for Best Supporting Actor. But the representation, you're right, absolutely deserves more praise than the film itself.
Yeah, and that's the same with Crazy Rich Asians. Like Crazy Rich Asians was a fine movie. The representation it has for the Asian community is fantastic. But it's just an okay movie when you get down to it. Like it's your typical formulaic rom-com. It just happens to take place in a Asian culture.
I was gonna say, you take away the whole representation, it's just another Marvel movie.
Yeah,
it's action.
You're talking about Black Panther?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you said Crazy Rich Asians is another Marvel movie.
No, I switched back over to Black Panther.
No, it's fine. And same with A Star Is Born. Like A Star Is Born was so mediocre. Like it has great acting. It was nominated for Best Actor for Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga for Best Actress, and that I completely understand. More so for Lady Gaga, she was great in it. Bradley Cooper was okay, but he was also directing.
He was just a deep voice, man.
Yeah, he was a Sam Elliott impersonator.
It's me.
But the movie overall it just felt like an advertisement for the soundtrack. Like like we talked about in Haunting of Hill House, where each scene serviced the next monologue.
Yeah.
In A Star Is Born, each scene services the next song, and not in a way that like the song pushes the story forward. It's just a reason to break down. Like the songs don't really have any meaning.
It's a song for that moment.
Exactly,
scene,
and
right?
it's lazy in my opinion. And then Bradley Cooper gets a Best Director nod for this, and I love Bradley Cooper, but this was a super weak first directorial debut. It was super safe. He didn't take any risks whatsoever, and the product overall was lackluster in my opinion. And I'm not so mad about because I know the Golden Globes are shit. I usually don't really care about the Golden Globes, but they usually do a pretty good job at representing what is going to come for the Oscars. And I'm worried about that, and I just hope that it is just like a fluke and the Oscars kind of correct everything. But you know what?
Even Best Directors, I haven't even seen half these movies, but I don't think that's, unless you have a different opinion on it.
I have not seen Vice or Green Book yet, but
I really want to see Green Book, and I'm kicking myself in the ass for not seeing it.
I think Vice is going to be
Ali and Vigo.
Yeah. Oh. I think Green Book's going to be great. Vice is going to be good, but I'm just tired of political dramas or comedies, really, because it's probably
really
going to be comedy.
Year. Yeah. Like there's a big one.
Yeah. And Adam McKay, I like Adam McKay, especially because he represents Philly. He's from Philly, went to Temple and everything. But he's just been kind of going off his... good for him. He's finding a voice and whatnot. I don't know. I was just growing tired of kind of like Marvel movies. I'm tired of political movies as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's all I have to say about the Golden Globes. Glenn, let's get into The Hunt.
For a long time?
Yes.
Der vist noget galt her. Hvor er der, Pelle?
Lukas?
Hej.
Kigger du lige ind et øjeblik?
Hvad er det, der er sket?
Ja, det kan jeg ikke sige. Måske det bedste, at du tager fri et par dage, ikke? Så kan vi få det her på plads, sådan stille og roligt. Hvad har hun nu fundet på, den lille bandit? Vi har desværre anledning til at tro, at der er sket grænseoverskridende adfærd imod.
Du skal ikke høre på, hvad de siger.
Directed by Thomas Vinterberg, and stars Mads Mikkelsen, Thomas Bo Larsen, and Annika Wenderkoop.
It's probably Vederkoop.
I'm not,
assuming they have
Danish.
If they have the same rule as German, which I think they do, but I could be wrong. But yeah, also, I realized this when editing the last week's episode. I apologize for the foreign language trailer for those of you that don't speak Spanish. It's Danish, you idiot, not Spanish. But, what are you going to do? We got to have a transition somewhere.
Tis what tis.
Yeah, just check out the trailer. It's pretty good. And the movie's pretty good, too. So, yeah, we watched The Hunt as the first movie.
And do you want me to do the IMDb synopsis?
Oh, I thought you already did that.
Oh, no, I just went straight to director and stars.
Okay. Yeah, go for it.
All right, let's do this. A teacher lives a lonely life, all the while struggling over his son's custody. His life slowly gets better as he finds love and receives good news from his son. But his new luck is about to be brutally shattered by an innocent little lie.
Oh.
That's messed up.
It is messed up. So, again, IMDb does not do this justice.
No.
The
problem was I couldn't do much better.
Yeah, you don't really want to give too much away with what the innocent little lie is. But essentially, this he's a kindergarten teacher who a little girl's. I don't want to say she says the lie. She's more led by the people questioning her.
Yes.
To say that he did inappropriate things with her, like revealing himself.
She overheard this one quote, and then she basically just kind of repeated the quote.
Yeah, her brother's douche nozzle friend showed her pornography and said, "Look at his rod look at it sticking up in the air like a rod," talking about his penis,
his El Pepe.
But yeah, so she kind of just then the teacher character does something that kind of irritates her, makes her feel embarrassed. Not on purpose, like he didn't embarrass her on purpose. It's just she kind of has like a crush on him for a little bit, and as a good adult would do, tells her that's not appropriate. And then she, in her embarrassment, tells another teacher about what she overheard, which brings in an investigator, and then the investigator does a really shitty job and just leads her to answer questions the way he wants to. He wants it to happen, and that's what irritates me about these things, because it's true, where like the investigator comes in and he's just like, where did he show you his penis?
Yes.
It's like, she didn't say that he did that.
It's messed up, man.
But yeah, I first feel free to interrupt me at any time.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I first watched this movie when I did the 365 movies in a year thing.
I can't remember. Did I recommend this to you or the other way around?
Multiple people recommended this to me. You may have been one of them.
And I think I can't remember, but I can't remember if you were like, "Bravo, Glenn. God damn, bravo."
Sounds like wishful thinking to me.
I know.
No, but it's very possible you recommended this to me, and it's a really great, dramatic. I don't want to say it's a thriller, but it does such a good job at keeping you in suspense, even though you know everything. Like, you know what happened, nothing happened. And you just feel so bad for this guy who, is just kind of. He's not even been a victim of a lie. Like I said earlier, like the one teacher overheard something, came to assumptions, which, in her defense, everyone would come to.
Yeah.
It's not like they did anything wrong. The only person who did something wrong is really the investigator who was asking leading questions. And it's just, you see why everyone is acting the way they do. You understand why everyone's acting the way they do, but you know they're in the wrong still because you know the person that you're following. And it's so well done that it just, I don't know, it pulled me in. Even a second time. Usually a second time viewing of a movie, I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember this, blah blah. But like I was invested in it, even though I knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, and that's one of the many reasons why I recommended this movie here.
Yeah.
But I was watching it with Kira, and she was loving it, and I'm sitting there, I'm loving it again. I'm like, oh my god, I remember how good this movie is. And yeah, as you were saying, we're stuck on the point of view of Lucas, Mads Mikkelson's character, or Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
And we know everything that he's done. He's completely innocent. But of course, people, they don't really think children lie. They have no reason to. And so everybody's believing, I mean, as most, absolutely, they certainly should. But
no one in this movie
stuck here. Just sitting there, like, no, don't do that to him. He's such a good man.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like the main plot point and how everyone reacts to it, no one is in the wrong. Mm-hmm. But what happens after, like, things are established are completely wrong. Like when they introduced that dog, I just remembered something bad happening to the dog. I couldn't remember what, but I was like, you motherfucker, Glenn, you're going to make me watch this again?
Yeah, I'll be honest, for a little bit there, I forgot about it. And then I realized after we were getting a little closer, I'm like...
And, like, as much as you... Like, that seems to be a thing in... I don't know if it's, like, a thing for people in general, but that's a running theme in... foreign movies where, like, if someone's mad at someone, they'll kill their dog. Don't take it out on a dog. Yeah, leave the dog alone. The dog never did anything to nobody.
What's crazy about this is, like, most of the things that happen to him are things that people would actually do, like, just overstep instead of, like, letting investigations do their thing and stuff like that. Like, they'll take authority instead of letting authorities deal with it themselves.
Mentality. It's the mob mentality of we gotta stop this guy. The punishment they're giving him is not enough. But seriously, don't fucking kill a dog, for fuck's sake. My God.
And for the most part, he handled everything absolutely as well as he could.
He never went to the police about the dog dying, which I would have. I would have been like, listen here, fucker. Yeah. We already established that I don't have a basement, and all these kids are saying these things are happening in the basement. Why the fuck are you letting people killing my dog? I get really upset when a dog dies.
No, I don't blame you.
Dogs are better than people. I hope the person who killed that dog, I hope their child dies of some kind of terrible disease, and I hope they watch them rot.
That are meant for dogs instead. Yeah. Like rabies or something.
I would cry more over a dead dog than a dead child right now.
Oh, jeez.
In a movie, not in real life.
I don't know, actually. It's like, but yeah. So, and then I got to thinking, honestly, at the end of this movie, like it's pretty well performed by everybody, but I don't think this movie would really be the same without Mads Mikkelsen.
Oh, absolutely. He kills this entire film. Like,
absolutely.
He's phenomenal.
Everybody's got their own performance. They're doing fine. They're doing great. And then, bam!
Oh yeah.
Here you go.
Absolutely.
Here's my little Danish wonder boy.
Danish Wunderkind.
Wunderboy.
See, the thing that I understand why this is done in investigations, but the big thing is he kept going when these accusations were brought up to him. He kept going and asking what was said, not even who said it, just what was said. Yeah. So he could defend himself, and understandably so. They said, "Oh, we can't tell you that right now," and it's just so frustrating. I understand why it's said when a kid is involved, but like. It's so frustrating being accused of something and then not being able to defend yourself. Like I really just kind of they did such a good job at making you frustrated when he's frustrated.
Oh, absolutely.
And he just tries to contain his frustration to not make things worse. Sometimes he does boil over, but everything is so understandable, and it's just.
And the worst part of like there's it really this movie makes like it gives you perspective. Like obviously, if someone's accused of child molestation or something like that, you don't like absolutely want to be like, oh well, they're the worst human being in the world and they deserve death beyond. You want to like it gives you the perspective like you should at least like look into it.
Absolutely.
And question it. Like they could be innocent, and it doesn't go just for this crime, but it goes for really any crime. Like, yes, maybe they could be an absolute psychopath and a murderous fiend, but hell, they could be innocent.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna kill somebody's dog over that, well, you deserve a little bit of a molestation yourself, friend. How about that?
One thing I just read one of my notes is pretty funny. There's a scene. You remember the scene where after he's arrested, his son goes to the father of the kids who is caught in the lie. Goes to his house, not even to bring things up, just to kind of, he's locked out of his house. He can't really do anything, and it's the only place he knows to go. And things escalate. He essentially tells the kid to stop lying, which is understandable because the kid is lying. And then, the adults get angry, throw him out. And then one of Lucas's friends, Johan, hits him after Marcus does something. I don't remember what. So I just wrote Johan is the only one who abused a child in this movie.
For real.
He is.
Just
he's the only one.
Crap at him.
Yeah.
Granted, the kid did smack him first.
But granted,
he's a huge dude.
He's a huge dude. He's an adult. The kid isn't that big. Like
literally smack the crap out of him.
You gotta I would put the fear of God in him, but you can do that without.
Yeah, you could have yelled at him or something.
Yeah, got in his face or something. But even just push him. Like, you don't need to hit him. Like, he straight up grabbed him and started hitting him.
Yeah.
But
also, one of the crazy things about this is, like, in the beginning, you see all these people hanging out. They're all friends. There's, like, 6 or 7 dudes. They're all best friends. All super cool. And when this fiasco, comes forth, all of them abandon him except for one person. Granted, most of them have kids. They understand. They're like, all right, screw this guy now. But everyone abandons him, and you're just left there like, oh, this poor dude. Yeah,
the one, there is one that I thought was actually pretty compelling. The father of Clara, the little girl who, had things taken the wrong way. His name's Theo, I think. Yeah, Theo. You could tell he's struggling internally. Like, he doesn't believe that Lucas could do this, but he's also got to believe his daughter. And I found that really compelling. Like, you can't just shrug something like that off. Because if it is real, you're going to break that child forever. But if it's not, you're going to lose a friend forever. So I thought that was really compelling. But yeah, everyone else is just like, peace, dude. And honestly, I don't know how I would react. I could see myself doing either thing. I guess it depends on the friend.
Yes.
But, if it was like my closest friend, I think I would have more of a struggle than just being like, oh, see ya.
Yeah. I mean, I'm for the most part, distant guy for most people, but I think I would give them a chance more than just be like, sayonara, friend.
Yeah. I mean, I would distance myself, but also wait to hear out what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the end of this movie is fantastic because it really just sums up the title of the movie, The Hunt.
Oh yeah.
And it's Lucas's boy. He's finally old enough to go hunting, and then somebody after he's been cleared of everything, somebody takes a pot shot at him.
Absolutely. So he's by himself walking around in the woods, and everything seems peaceful, and then you hear a gunshot, and then bark near a tree right by his head just flies off.
Yeah.
And it's you see the shooter, but he's silhouetted, so you can't see who it is. And that was just so it really kind of showed that, like, even though things seem over, they're not really over, and there's still wounds that need to be mended, if they'll be mended at all. But who do you think shot?
The whole thing's really daunting. It could have been literally anybody in that village or whatever town. And it just really shows that, like, even during the dinner party right before they all went hunting, like, it showed that everyone's still skeptical of this dude, even though he's been cleared of everything. And although they want to, like, put on a face and act like they're friends with him now, like, everybody still gives him looks like, oh, he's this monster and stuff like I think it could have been anybody.
Yeah. I originally thought it was probably Johan.
Maybe think it is.
I thought it was going to be Johan because when he seems to be the only one who didn't really forgive him fully when he was greeting him at that gathering. It is possible that it could be read as more he realized how wrong he was and he's just in an awkward situation. But then also the silhouette looks nothing like the size of Johan. Yeah. It's more of a skinny guy. So in that, like, I'm really not sure. I thought it would be Johan, but then I even wrote down Johan until I saw the silhouette. I was like, there's no way that is Johan.
It was like a normal sized person. And everything.
But yeah, Mads Mikkelsen does such a great job. It's such a hard subject to tackle, and he approached it with such like a sensitivity and powerful performance that like it's just captivating. And it actually won him. This film premiered in the Cannes Film Festival in 2012, and it won him Best Actor at that festival, and he 100% deserved it.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's really all I have to say about it.
Yeah, same here. I mean, it was nominated for Best Foreign Film at the 87th Academy Awards in 2014. Lost to Ida, which is a Polish movie, which I got to rewatch it. I didn't really care for it the first time I watched it, but had I seen The Hunt at the time, I probably would have been pretty upset that this lost to Ida.
Yeah,
because it's just a phenomenal movie.
I'd say that's why I recommended it. I feel like it was captivating all on its own. It definitely was worth a rewatch, first of all. And it really just kind of opens your eyes, really, to just people and kind of giving them a second glance instead of just immediately scolding them and
it really shows how people don't care about the truth either. They just are quick to and not in something so black and white. It's really just it's hard to admit you're wrong, and people struggle to do so.
Jeg kender min lille pige, og hun lyver ikke. Så hvorfor skulle hun lyve nu? Hvad laver I her? Hvad sker der? Hjem igen, Lukas. Du kan ikke få noget her. Jeg har ret til at købe ind her. Jeg kan godt gå og se. Det er min bedste vens datter, det ved du godt, ikke?
Jeg tror på børnene, Lukas. Det har jeg altid gjort.
Hvis du rører ved min lille datter. Hvis eller hvad? Så får du en kugle. Lige i panden.
You are not a sick person, honey.
Men for helvede, du har ikke gjort noget.
Hvorfor lå du min far?
Hvad er det, du forestiller dig, der er sket? Det er dem, der er blevet syge i hovedet. Vil du sige noget til mig? Helt byen står og hører på dig, mand.
So that is The Hunt. Our next movie, we're going to take it back a few decades with Mean Streets, directed by Martin Scorsese.
These are honorable men.
You know, Tony, you got a way about talking about one thing and then zap.
Charlie,
You gotta be like me.
Tony,
Just be sure and tell him to be here tonight, all right?
Michael, Giovanni.
You're still around that kid Johnny Boy. This Johnny Boy is named after me. Nice, huh? Oh, sure. But this Johnny Boy is a little bit like your friend Groppy, half crazy. I understand you try to help him out because of our family and his family. Well, that's nice, I understand. But watch yourself. Don't spoil anything. Honorable men go with honorable men.
Four Honorable Men, and Johnny Boy.
Why didn't you make your payment last Tuesday?
What do you mean? I made my payment last Tuesday. What are you talking about? Charlie, you don't know what...
He's here.
Where?
Out front.
He's here?
Yeah.
So what do I care?
All right, let me go get him. We'll straighten this thing out, all right?
Hey, wait a minute, Charlie.
What?
Well, you're right.
I'm right.
Yeah, was it last Tuesday?
Yeah, that's the Tuesday. That was last week. That's before the one that's about to come up.
My mistake. I'm sorry. Forgive me. It was last week, the week before that I was thinking of.
Would you like to do the honors, Glenn?
Oh, yes, I would absolutely love to. Mean Streets, directed by Martin Scorsese, stars Robert De Niro, Harvey Keitel, David Proval. I don't even know if he's Spanish, but he's a pro. A small-time hood aspires to work his way up the ranks of a local mob. That is the IMDb synopsis.
I mean, that's kind of it.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
This was an interesting movie. I'll give it
interesting
that.
Is a good word to put. So the reason I picked this movie is it's a Martin Scorsese movie. It's one of his first movies. I think it's his second feature-length film.
Yes.
And I like going to see directors that we respect. I like seeing their first work to see how far they've come. And also, this is also in that 1001 movies you must see before you die book. So that's another reason I wanted to watch it, and also to throw some old movies in there since we've pretty much been doing at the turn of the millennium.
It was a nice little gift.
Absolutely,
gift of time to go back.
And it's this kind of came out probably towards the end or the beginning. I'm not sure exactly what the dates are for New Hollywood, which is like a bunch of young. I've heard it described as young bearded directors coming in and just changing everything in Hollywood, where they would make things not the way that studios would make them.
Did that and
Spielberg, Lucas,
yep.
Which is ironic because they kind of fucked the industry inadvertently, but they fucked the industry over majorly by creating blockbusters.
It was right in the middle there. It's got to be like in the beginning and the end. It's got to be like snapped in there.
So essentially, a lot of directors were inspired by French New Wave movies, and were just doing really experimental movies that didn't fit. It didn't fit the norm, you know. It didn't fit how studios normally made movies, where things were, you know, wrapped up with a nice clean bow. They were more experimental. I know I said that already, but it was
okay.
An era from the 60s,
from time to time.
Late 60s to early 70s. So yeah, this was pretty like right in the middle. Sorry, late 60s into early 80s. So this was right in the middle. About and it's Martin Scorsese's 1973. I didn't really go. I went into this not knowing too much about it. I knew it was Martin Scorsese. I knew Robert De Niro and Harvey Keitel. I knew it was probably something to do with the streets and their attitude. Sorry, that was real bad joke.
There. The streets and their attitude.
Knowing Scorsese,
welcome to Mean Streets, everybody.
Yeah, knowing Scorsese, and especially his early work, it was really New York based and really showed how grimy of a city it was at that point. Because it was a grimy city. You can ask anyone who lived in New York in that time, and they would be like, "Yeah, it was a shithole back then." I still think it's a shithole, but that's just me. I'm getting people to stop listening left and right.
Do you want me to go, or are you still good?
I'm good.
Okay.
I thought this. I'm gonna say I understand why it is so widely regarded, especially with the career that Scorsese followed up with. But I thought it was pretty rough. I thought a lot of it could have been cut out. And that's how I feel with a lot of experimental movies. And you know what? That's exactly what there are. They're experimental. So they're trying new things. But I felt like a lot of it didn't work with this. A lot of it was confusing in a way.
Yeah.
You hear Harvey Keitel's thoughts in his head, but it takes you a while to realize that's what...
representation that it kind of just shows that he's kind of thinking. It's kind of just happening, and you think it's somebody else talking, and then there's nobody there. You're like... What? Exactly.
It's just kind of the way it's done is kind of confusing at first, and there were a lot of parts of this movie that were slow moving, to to its credit, I was completely engaged in the last 30, 45 minutes. But until then, I was kind of
just
like
a slow grind. Until then.
So I was really just waiting for it to get started. And when it finally did start, I ended up really liking it. But it was a rough beginning.
Yeah, at least like the first half hour, I think, right? It was pretty rough. It was like during that time, I was kind of more interested in researching the movie than anything, and that's where there was actually a bunch of interesting facts about it, and the reason why this movie was more made like how it was than anything. Yeah, and I guess I'll go into that a little bit.
Yeah, go for it.
So this movie was actually made with a budget of like $500,000. Oh, so it's really low.
$1973 or?
I think so.
I'll get the conversion right now. But you keep going.
Yeah, I think $500,000 estimated, and it really kind of just shows because most of the movie is actually more freehand than anything. More, I wouldn't say shaky. Like it's just freehand. There's no tracks. There's no tripods or anything like that for the most part, and there's like long takes. The acting seems more subpar than anything for most of the actors. I'm not going to say like Robert De Niro. Oh, he was subpar.
I thought Robert De Niro was great. Harvey Keitel. He had kind of a weaker character with less to play with, but Robert De Niro was incredible. Yeah. Just to interrupt you real quick, $500,000 in 1973 is now $2,847,804.05.
And what's interesting about that is pretty much half of that money went into the soundtrack. And
you could tell. There's like a very famous song in pretty much every scene.
My first note was, you're in a Scorsese movie when the first song is Rolling Stones. And hold that thought, the second song was also a Rolling Stones song.
100%.
So half their budget went into like the soundtrack alone. So if they, held back on that a little bit, I feel like this movie could have been a little better.
Absolutely.
Looking.
My one of my notes was music budget must have been out of control.
Oh, it was.
I felt like this had less plot and it was more of a showcase of how New York was in the time and the Italian American life, and also just kind of showcasing all of their skills. Which I mean, it was still fun to watch for the most part, but it's I felt like the plot was pretty weak.
Yeah, I don't even think the IMDb synopsis gives it credit. Actually, I don't want to say credit, but to me this was like a different story than this he's a small time Italian boy trying to make his way through the mob. This to me was more of like a best friend movie, like this dude and his friend, and like the struggles that his friends go through, or that his friend goes through, Robert De Niro being, and that really took place more than any of the mob stuff. Like they talked about it a lot, but like most of the time it was like, hey, where's Johnny Boy? Hey, where's Johnny Boy? What's wrong with Johnny Boy? Johnny Boy owes me money and stuff like that. And it was just like, I don't know. You gotta find them because I'm not telling you and stuff like that.
I can't remember what series of lines it was, but there was a series of lines that made me write this note. The movie Tommy Wiseau thought he was making when he made The Room.
Oh my God. Somebody in this movie was acting like Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but it's just... I was reminded of... this is definitely, hands down, a lot better than The Room. I'm not even trying to make a comparison. This is more commentary on how Tommy Wiseau thinks he is versus how he actually is. But it really just felt like... it reminded me of The Room in some instances, and it just felt like maybe that's what Tommy Wiseau was trying to capture when he was making it. And it as we all know, to much failure.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually did write I did write down the line that made me say this. What's the matter with you? We're friends.
Oh my goodness, that was the line. I swear to God, I was like having Vietnam flashbacks of The Room. I was like, what's happening? Tommy, no.
Tommy. And keep in mind, we're here to help.
Oh, hi, Mark. Where's the money, Mark? Where's Johnny Boy?
and kind of just going back into the whole, like, it's just kind of told in a confusing way. when Harvey Keitel starts having a relationship with Teresa, the way the scene before was written or edited, I can't remember exactly what it was.
Yeah.
I legitimately thought Teresa was his cousin for a second, but it was Johnny's cousin.
Well, between that and the way like he was kind of narrating it, made it seem like a dream. Like so.
Oh my god! Oh, so okay. So sorry. In the room, the character that Tommy is always trying to help is Denny, and in this, it's Johnny with Harvey Keitel's character. And the way they both interact a lot is very much like the Tommy Wiseau Denny thing. Holy shit! I think Tommy Wiseau was trying to make Mean Streets.
What year did The Room come out?
2003.
2003. Guys, I think we cracked the code. I'm 30 years later, Tommy Wiseau made a drama about this movie.
I'm probably just stretching it, but like I made that comparison and just how Denny owes the guy money, owes the thug guy money in the room. Johnny owes the mob boss in this, owes him a lot of money. And it's, oh my God, sorry, that just came to me. What were you saying before that?
I'll be honest. The narration. So like that scene you were talking about where you think like, because at one point he says that, oh, you're gonna wake up cousin Teresa or something. And then And then he starts kind of narrating and talking about how Teresa was in his dream or something like that. And then like you think, or at least I thought that the dream was happening over the voiceover.
Yeah.
The next thing you know, it's a real scene. Like it's a real life scene.
And you think that Charlie is banging his cousin for a second, but then you realize it's like, Johnny Boy's cousin. Yeah.
Okay.
You're
just sitting there. You're like, what? Okay. At the end of the day, it all came down to me that this was it was very early work. It was very early work. Scorsese with budget that he blew on the soundtrack and could have used it in better scenarios. But I think that he has come the longest way possible. And it's good to see that people still believed in his visions after. Like, not saying that this movie was bad. I think it was good. It was a good movie overall, but it could have been better.
I think it's a movie of its time, and I think a lot of our opinions with this movie have to be the way movies are now, where it's not structured like most movies. And I'm completely fine with that being the case, but it's obvious that it's definitely a product of its time.
I also want to say that I wouldn't mind seeing like a remake of this. Like, obviously, if they spiced up the script a little bit and the plot a little bit.
I'd want it to be directed by Scorsese, though, just to see how he would do it. I don't think anyone could really do it the right way.
Robert De Niro should play, what's his face? Robert De Niro should play Charlie's dad in the new one. That would be crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then Leo DiCaprio should be... Let's just do the whole freaking Scorsese cast. Let's get Andrew Garfield in here somewhere.
Absolutely. So, one thing that I thought was kind of sloppy is kind of around the end of the movie when Charlie is chasing Johnny Boy because Johnny, they got to meet the guy to pay the mob boss.
Yeah.
Teresa just has a seizure. And it's never mentioned.
I think they mentioned that before, but I think it was about the grandmother.
Okay,
I think it happened to her.
I'm not saying that they didn't mention it before, but if they did, I completely missed it.
Yeah.
And
it was actually in the scene we were talking about earlier about the whole narration thing.
Yeah,
it's when Robert De Niro was like in the bed and he's like and Charlie's standing at the window.
Okay,
you're gonna give her a seizure. What are you doing? And like, it was about when Robert wanted to go get some food. Johnny Boy, he wanted to go get some food from, but I can't remember. I could have sworn that he said the grandmother would have a seizure, and not Teresa. It might have been the other way around. But regardless,
either way, it wasn't 100% clear what was trying to be said at that point. And I mean, overall, it's a good movie. I respect it for what it is. What it's done for movies and especially launching Scorsese's career. Because without this movie, we wouldn't have Scorsese.
Absolutely.
At least not to the extent that we have him now. And it's just...
And we wouldn't have the... this is the first movie with Robert De Niro and Scorsese, by the way.
Yeah.
This is the first of their whole shebang.
Yeah. This is... this might be an unpopular or controversial opinion, but I fucking hate button-up shirts that have a white collar and different colored regular sleeves and stuff. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think so.
That was a big thing in like 80s Wall Street movies too, where it's like a button-up that has blue stripes and then it's just a plain white collar. I fucking hate those shirts.
Yeah.
So much. They look terrible. He gets one. Harvey Keitel gets one in one scene, and I just remember cringing when I saw those. It has nothing to do with the movie. It was just the style of the time. But I hate those shirts.
I don't blame you.
Anyway, that's Mean Streets.
That's Mean Streets. The streets with attitude.
I borrow money all over this neighborhood, left and right, from everybody. I never paid them back, so I can't borrow no money from nobody no more, right? So who does that leave me to borrow money from but you? I borrow money from you because you're the only folk around here that I can borrow money from without paying back, right? Because I don't give this shit about you or nobody else. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Honorable men. Honorable men.
Glenjamin.
Miguel.
This week, or actually last week, that Blind Spotting and Handmaiding both made it onto the shelf.
Along with that Outlaw King. It's got
Outlaw
company
King.
now.
So we got 3 on the shelf now, but now we got to decide about these 2.
Ooh.
First, let's go to The Hunt.
The Hunt. I don't really think this is more of a toughie than you would guesstimate from our review from it, but I think it deserves to be on the shelf. Absolutely.
I think I was clear when you said we were going to watch The Hunt last week, and then I tried to play it off cool like it was going to be surprising. Yeah. Even before I watched it, I thought it deserved to be on the shelf. But, I mean, obviously, we had to rewatch it to make sure it wasn't just nostalgia putting it on. But it really is probably one of the better movies made in the past 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably say... I mean, this isn't going to seem like much, but with how many movies I watched, this is saying something. It's probably in my top 25 of the last 20 years.
It's a really good movie.
Yeah, and it's fantastic. So I would say it definitely deserves to be on the shelf.
But from here on out, I'm going to absolutely do my best to not recommend movies we've seen. But regardless,
I'm fine. Honestly, I'm fine with it being movies we've seen. Hopefully, we just keep it to one. At least, like, you haven't seen both, or
Yeah.
As long as one of the movies is a mystery to at least one of us, if not both of us, then I think we're good.
Got it. So yeah, there's a little shelf boy for the hunt.
Yeah, little chef boy for the hunt.
Little shelf boy.
Now, for Mean Streets, what would you say?
Although respected movie, it's where Scorsese really started, where Robert De Niro and Scorsese got together and started. However, it is kind of not as good as it could have been movie, and unfortunately, I don't think it belongs here on the shelf. The respect belongs there. The respect absolutely belongs there.
Yeah,
the respect gets it for the shelf. It gets a Golden Globe nomination. How about that?
Overall, I did like the movie. The beginning was rough, but I really enjoyed the ending, and I was drawn in by the ending. But then you got to ask yourself, if a movie has a really good ending, but you really didn't care for the rest of it, does it deserve to be on the shelf? And I think the definition for our shelf should be, and I think you and I know this, I'm not so sure if listeners know, it's movies that I would be comfortable with recommending, even if it's not necessarily said person's normal style.
It's movies you want to show off to people.
Yeah, and
it's why it's on a shelf, people.
Exactly, and
it's our trophy system for movies.
I think Scorsese has done a lot better work since then. I wouldn't say this is his worst movie, but it's certainly not his best movie. Yeah. And like you said, the respect for Scorsese. Can we just put a picture of Scorsese on our shelf?
Yeah, we'll put just his glasses or his eyebrows.
So yeah, I think I would agree with you. I don't think it deserves to be on the shelf. You know, I know I'm confident that we'll watch more Martin Scorsese movies that will make it on there.
Oh, absolutely.
And I understand why. I'm a big believer that you have to watch your favorite directors' first things to see how far they've come. Yeah. So I understand why this is so widely recommended by people, but I was left disappointed.
So there it is.
There it is.
There's the shelf, boys.
Yeah. The Hunt makes it onto the shelf. Mean Streets does not. We now have 4 movies on that shelf. But we got to move on to next week. Mm-hmm. And Glenn, have you picked a movie for us to watch next week?
I did, and I hope to God you didn't watch it because it just came out this last Friday. So here we go. You know that movie that Disney decided to kind of rehash in 3D? No, not Cinderella. We're not going to watch Cinderella again.
I know exactly what you're talking about, but I'll let you do your spiel.
We're going to go with Mowgli, Legend of the Jungle, directed by Andy Serkis.
Oh, yeah.
Starring Christian Bale, Cate Blanchett, Benedict Cumberbatch, and a whole lot of British people you don't even want to begin to understand.
So that's available on Netflix, right?
It is on Netflix.
Yeah. So I'm just going to say I've heard bad things about this movie so far. Mm-hmm. I think people are watching it thinking it's going to be like the Disney version of Jungle Book, and you can't go in thinking it's going to be like the Disney version of Jungle Book. But we'll see. It could be garbage. I'm not sure. Yeah. But I've been waiting for a Jungle Book movie that is more closely to the book than the
Disney.
The Disney movie. But yeah, my movie. So I have not seen that, so that's good. We got a movie we both haven't seen.
Sweet.
My movie I have seen, but my wife was watching it with me, and she does not like horror, gory movies.
Ooh.
And so she was asking me questions like, why are you watching this the whole time? So I didn't get to enjoy it as much as I wanted to. But I'm going to recommend that we watch Apostle, which is also on Netflix. And while I did watch it, I did not pay as closely attention to it as I wanted to. So that is why I am kind of, instead of going to a movie I haven't seen, going with that one.
Got it. I could dig it. Yeah. In fact, I might watch it after this podcast because I got nothing to do the rest of the day.
Yeah, so essentially, Apostle is directed by Gareth Evans of The Raid and The Raid 2 fame, starring Dan Stevens, Richard Eflin. Was that a dog or was that you saying woo?
Why not both?
Well, I want to know what it was.
I'm a sexy bitch, okay? I can be both.
Anyway, so yeah, he directed The Raid and The Raid 2, so you know it's going to be violent. And in 1905, a drifter on a dangerous mission to rescue his kidnapped sister tangles with a sinister religious cult on an isolated island. And I'm excited to watch this again, especially with more focus and, more of an analytical mind.
Not your wife.
Yeah. It is kind of funny watching those things with her, though, because she's like, why are you watching this? But yeah, so next week is Mowgli and Apostle. Glenn, as always, it's been fantastic talking to you.
I love you.
I love you, too. And everyone, have a great week.
I love you, too, guys.
Love you. Bye.